Sunday morning, but we're gonna do some gardening maintenance around here. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I do pretty much day to day around the garden. Now we are going to be putting some corn in the ground, and you can see I've got it spaced out the way I want it to, and then we're gonna dig some holes, place them in there, and then they'll be good to go. Also, we'll probably do some weeding around the garden. It's looking a little bit out of control. So we like to establish order, to make it look good and, keep an eye on everything clearly. Now, we'll probably also get into some fencing of some sort because there's a section of the garden that I just hadn't got to. So we'll do that as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is the area here. We're gonna put the corn in the ground. And so I've got my action hoe. And so the action hoe I'm gonna use to clear out any weeds that may be in the path that we're gonna be planting. So right here, we can see there's weeds, okay? We're gonna clear that out. We actually had the mustard greens here, so this is going to be a nice area for the corn to grow. It gets plenty of sunlight, and so this is going to be good for them. Now, let me know in the comments, are you guys planning on getting in your garden today? Let me know. So for those of you that are coming in, we're just clearing out the weeds for now, and then we're going to be planting corn, okay? Getting a nice little pad for it, clearing out all of the weeds. You see, this is some pretty healthy soil here. So over the last couple of years, we've been putting peat moss in here. We put a little bit of potting soil and kind of mix it in with this clay soil that we have. So if you guys aren't familiar with clay soil is rough to work with, so we've been amending the soil every year, and it finally seems like, it's doing pretty well now. So again, for those of you coming in, this is an action hoe, and this is what I use to clear out the weeds. And we're just clearing the path right now to get our corn in the ground. All right, so now we got the area clear of the weeds. What I'm gonna do is grab my post hole digger, and I'm going to set it here because this is where I want to put the first corn plant. So I'm gonna just kind of line it up, move it there. And this is some really good soil here. It's going down nice and deep. Now, even though all the way underneath there's clay soil, corn will do very well with it. As long as you fertilize it, it'll give the roots the strength it needs to spread out underneath. So I'm gonna dig just a little bit further, and then we're gonna place the first plant in there. We're gonna chop this up. You see, this is some nice soil here. Chop it up, put a little bit more back in there, okay? And now we're gonna take this corn plant out. You can see the roots at the bottom. I don't know if you can, but you can take a look at those roots. So they're ready to go. All right, put a little bit more soil in there. Now we just gonna fill it in. And over the next couple of weeks, these plants are gonna be probably about waist high. They're gonna start to move fast. I'm gonna show you the fertilizer that I pretty much use for everything. Now, sometimes with our brassicas, which includes cauliflower, broccoli, uh, kale, cabbage, you know, things of that nature. Sometimes I'll give those a little bit of miracle grow. They do really good with leafy greens, but if you're doing fertilizer with carrots, you want to do something a little bit different, and I'll show you what I use for that as well. So leafy greens are good with miracle grow, but not necessarily with everything else, if that makes sense. Some of the other produce needs something a little better than that. All right, so let's get our next one in. We got the alignment here. You can see we got them spaced out the way we want to. We're just gonna use the post hole digger. Now, if I have any issues with the post hole digger, we'll use this manual auger, okay? And so this is the manual auger. I did a hand build with this. And so if I need to go deeper, I'll use this and I'll spin it around. It kind of helps get through the roots of, you know, some of the native plants that used to be here, okay? This thing is working pretty good. Now let me know what you guys do. Do you guys do no dig? Do you get your plants in the ground? I love to see what you guys do with your gardens. Do you guys use raised beds? What's primarily what you do? Do you have a mixture of both? Let me know in the comments. Now, another reason why I love gardening is because I love to work out. This gives me a good way to work out, especially after having a couple of kids over the last couple of years. It keeps me at home if I'm not, you know, doing my walks with the kids and the strollers. So gardening is a good way for me to stay in shape. Many of you know that I come from a fitness background. And so for me, I like to do things manually because I want to feel what I'm doing along with get my workout in. All right. Now I could get one of the machines that runs on gas, and you can use that with that bit, but like I said, I like to really feel what I'm doing. So now I'm going to grab this post hole digger, see how far down we can get now. Yeah, we getting down there now. All right, now we're gonna chop it all up. A little bit more. Gonna fill it in a little bit. And now we're gonna take our corn. The roots are looking good. We're gonna stick that on top, fill it in. And then we'll be good to go. All right, so for those of you that are just coming in again, we are putting corn in the ground. We're gonna be doing some maintenance around here, getting these weeds up. Probably tying some of the tomatoes up if they need that, and put some more fencing up. So we got a lot to do around here. Again, we try to keep it looking as clean as possible. The weeds are coming up a little bit too much for me, so we're gonna get that together as well. So again, we've got it lined up with where we want to place it, and then we start digging right here. So if you don't know what this is, again, this is a post hole digger. All right, post hole digger. It's an old school way of digging holes. And I can already see I'm gonna need this auger because I can see some orange roots that are thick underneath. And so we'll probably use that auger in just a second. All right, guys, so let me know what grow zone are you guys in? Have you started to harvest? If so, let me know what you've been harvesting. I'd love to know. And for those of you that are in zones, you know, 3, 4, and 5, I know some of you are probably just getting started. Where I am, Indianapolis, we are in extreme weather zones, right? So it's extremely hot or extremely cold. It's rarely in between. And that's one of the reasons why this year we have not been able to grow successful spinach, right? Now, I think 3 years ago, we had some really good spinach because we had a little bit of in-between weather, but the last couple of years just has not been good for spinach. So I got my fingers crossed for next year. We'll see how that goes. Now, I know there are warmer weather spinach that you can grow. I'll do more research for that. But you can see we've got Swiss chard in here, and Swiss chard to me tastes pretty much like spinach. So that's why we've got a lot of Swiss chard around here, because it's got that similar taste. And so basically, with the Swiss chard, you can boil them, you can saute them, you know, throw a little butter on them, a little garlic, and then you'll have a nice little side dish. All right, so any of you guys cooking Sunday dinner, if you are, let me know what you're making. You throwing a little macaroni in the oven, sweet potatoes, let me know what you guys are cooking today. Also, if you want to see what we cook, let me know in the comments, and see what we can do, especially with all the things we grow here. Yep, so we just giving this corn deep root room so it can pop up really quickly. Now, corn roots are very strong. Like I said, you give them some fertilizer and the roots will really take off. They can get really thick. So this year, I'm digging deep holes because we want them to be really high, okay? We want them to get about, I don't know, let's say 10 to 12 feet high. They can get there. I know some of you guys have seen the pictures and videos from the previous years. So now we're gonna chop this up a little bit, so we can have some nice loose native soil here. And then we're gonna put it back in there. All right, now we're gonna take our, I'm gonna take this one. Take this one. This is one of the bigger ones we got. So this one's really gonna take off. We're gonna slide the soil back in here. All right. So now we've got 3 corn plants successful in here. We're gonna do a couple more and then we'll go off to something else. We'll say the other 3 behind the scenes, but I want you guys to kind of get an idea of how we space this out. Now this corn is spaced out about 18 inches apart really allowing them to establish some root room. And we're only doing about 8 plants this year. We're not really big on corn, so we'll, do some corn. Maybe, sometime in July. We typically would have corn ready for the fourth, but this year we got off to a later start. So, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and get a couple more in here. Now, if you're new, you can see we've got our rotation going, right? So a lot of times when you're new, you'll plant your tomato in your pot, maybe some peas or something, but you don't think about what you can do next, right? So you want to have a rotation. You want to know what you can plant when. So right now it's good for us to get corn in the ground. So this area before was mustard greens, right? So mustard greens are, a cooler crop, spring crop. Now we're rotating that out and we're putting our summer crops in. And then the next rotation, we'll have, pumpkin, and we got to get that in this month, right? So if we want successful pumpkin before that cold weather hits, we got to get that in the ground now. That way the pumpkin will have time to cure, and whatever you want to do with it, make pies, or you want the seeds, whatever you want to do with them, you'll be able to do. So let's go ahead and get our last hole we're going to do here for the day. Again, one of the best workouts. Now also, guys, you want to take care of your tools, right? Meaning you don't want them just laying around, right? You leave them laying around and the weather gets bad, it starts to rain on them, then that's more money you got to come out your pockets, right? Now, I'm not going to lie, I've done it. I'm not going to lie, but I've been getting better at it. And what I will say is, if you want some of these tools like the post hole digger, action hoe, some of the other holes we have, the Goodwills around town where we are, they have some nice old garden tools, okay? So if you're looking for tools on a budget, I know I put a video up a while back, so check that out. Let's see. This is actually so cool. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I'd rather watch y'all. I enjoy watching huge harvests. All right, well, thank you, G Mama Grows. Thank you guys for tuning in. All right, so I'll check more of the comments in just a second. All right, so let's get this last one in here. Let's get this last one in here. We'll do on camera, and then we'll do some more things, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead, chop this up, break it down so that it's nice and loose. All right, then I'm gonna bring it back in here. Put this corn on the top here. I'm gonna fill this up. And like I said, maybe in another week or two, this corn is gonna be probably about waist high, because we're gonna be giving them some fertilizer, and I'll show you the fertilizer I pretty much use for everything outside of the leafy greens. Now, sometime I will use this for leafy greens as well, but so now I want to show you guys how we keep our rows intact. We use this tool. It's called the action hoe. We probably had this thing maybe about 3 years. So I know we got a video on it that's done pretty well. Action hoe. So usually once a week I come through and I use this thing to keep it all nice and clean and neat. And the more it rains, the more I have to use it, right? So this week it's rained a little bit. I haven't had to use it as much as I've had over the last couple of weeks, but today is a good day to show you how I do this. And this is also a good workout. So let me go ahead and set this over here so you can see what I'm doing. I think you guys will be able to see that. Let's see. Yep, so I'm gonna take it here and I'm gonna just work it back and forth. Now this area here is where we had the turnips, and we're gonna rotate this area to something else. We haven't figured out quite what we're gonna do yet, but this is how you keep it nice and clean. Let's see how this thing works. Let's see, we just cleared out an entire area of weeds here, okay? And so everything that was green is going to be good nitrogen for the soil, right? So as it rains, as it composes and breaks down, this area is going to be nice, full of nitrogen, right? Anything that was brown over here, maybe some leaves, some stem, that's going to be your carbon, right? You put the carbon and nitrogen together, you got great soil. Now, a lot of people also use topsoil. So topsoil is cheap, and once you have your garden the way you want, you can put the topsoil down, and it's going to provide your garden with the nutrients that it needs to feed all of your produce, all right? So a lot of people may not even use fertilizer. They'll just use topsoil, and it works just great in the locations that they may live, right? For example. Now with this action hoe, you want to be very careful. It's very sharp. We'll probably do a video on sharpening it soon, and you just got to be very careful. Now it gets in tight areas, right? So yeah, just be careful. Let's go ahead and rotate this camera around so you guys can see more of how we keep things in order, because it can get really out of hand if you let it. All right, get this camera right. There we go. So again, another area here where we had turnips, and I'm just clearing all the weeds out. All right, so if you don't want to break your back bending over and pulling and all of that, if you want to get a nice workout, you want to cut down on the time you're spending, this thing, I'm telling you, it works wonders. This is how we keep everything nice and clean. So we just slowly getting around, being careful that we don't get the roots on what we're growing. We want to keep those areas nice and clear so they get a nice little airflow to keep the plants growing pretty nicely. So you can see our tomatoes here are about maybe 4.5 feet tall. By this time next week, they'll probably be over 5 feet, because we got some nice warm weather coming. All right, so we just, again, slowly getting around here, being very careful. Yep, keeping that nice airflow around the cabbage. Now, one thing about doing this, for instance, if it rains like a lot, some of what we pulled up will re-root back in the ground, but if it stays dry, it's gonna look clean for a while. So that's one thing I wanted to tell you guys about this. So let's go ahead and continue cleaning up around this area here. Again, for those of you that are just coming in, we've planted some corn successfully. Now we're cleaning things up. We're keeping it nice and clean. We want to stay on top of these things, because if you don't, it can get out of hand really quickly. All right. So again, for those of you that are just coming in, let me know what you're planting today. Are you harvesting? I also asked, so some of you guys cooking Sunday dinner. What are you guys cooking? I love to see what you guys are doing. I'm gonna check the comments when I get off this. Since I have time, the kids are still laying down, so that also helps. All right, so we pretty much got this area nice and clear. This area looks okay. Some of the back I'll do a little bit later. So yeah, let's go ahead and do a little bit of fencing that we need to do. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this camera around. We gonna do some fencing. How come I can't have nice gardening neighbors? What are they doing? They calling the HOA on you or something? My best kale plants are not the new ones, but the 3 and 4-year-old red Russian kale. Living on. Where are you at? Cause my red Russian kale, I'm trying to think. Now the last place we lived, the red Russian kale lasted a couple years, but for some reason where I am now, it doesn't stick around for some reason. I don't know. Now I planted this, I can't remember what variety of kale this is here, but this one usually lasts pretty good. All right, today planting tomatoes, cucumbers, basil. Yeah, we're okay. Let me see. Nice tool tips, you welcome. Okay, strawberries. What grow zone are you in, John C? Let me know what your grow zone is. All right, guys, we gonna do some fencing. Let me back this thing up a little bit. So yeah, this area here, we've got watermelon growing in here. And let me straighten this thing out. We got watermelon growing in here with our bananas. So 7A, okay. Yeah, you got plenty of time to grow that. All right, so we're gonna do some fencing because we've got watermelon growing in here with the bananas, and so they've got plenty of room to grow in there. But in case they want to vine really nicely, then we're gonna have them a nice little area to do that. So I gotta unravel this, and we've been using this same fencing for about 4 years. So once you get the fencing, if you take care of it, you won't have to worry with it anymore. So I'm gonna take this in here, okay? I'm gonna bring it across. And I'm gonna slide it all the way down to the last post here. I'm gonna start with the top, hook there, and then hook the bottom. All right, so this one doesn't have much, but it's self-hooked here. We're gonna bring this thing all the way across and around the back here. So for those of you that are just coming in, we planted some corn. We showed you how to do that. Maybe we'll do a little bit more at the end. We showed you how we keep it nice and clean with our action hose. Now we're doing some fencing, okay? Because we want to allow the watermelon here to do whatever it wants to do over here. So for those of you that don't know, watermelon is a vine, okay? We got the bottom here. We'll hook this around. Bring this up to the top. Getting to our last post here. All right, so now all I have to do is cut that off there, but this is going to give a watermelon more room to, you know, kind of have fun and do whatever it is it wants to do. So I'm gonna show you this trellis here. I think I showed you guys the other day, but you can see how this watermelon, we trained it to start coming up this trellis here. You can see little baby watermelon in here starting to flower. So we'll give it a little more fertilizer and then allow the pollinators to do what they need to do. And we're gonna start to get some nice watermelon, okay? So if you're coming in new, make sure you guys hit the like button. I don't know if you guys know that algorithm is mean. So if you guys can hit that like button, we can get this this video out there a little bit better. And so now we're gonna do a little bit more with the corn. For those of you that are just coming in, plant a couple more in case you guys missed it and don't want to rewind. And then we'll look at some other things we can spot out, okay? So let me put the camera back here. We're gonna get our post hole digger again, show you guys how we put the corn in the ground for those of you that are just coming. All right, make sure you guys hit that like button. I had best luck with Sugar Baby. Yeah, you know what? I grew some Sugar Baby maybe 3 or 4 years ago. They turned out really good. But I don't know, it's kind of weird because where I live now, watermelon have not done good. The previous house, it didn't do good. But the house before the previous house, the watermelon did excellent. So sometimes it just depends on where you at, how the soil is, and the conditions of your environment. And it just amazes me where a 30-mile radius can give you different results. Okay, it's just weird. All right, let's go ahead and get some more corn in the ground. All right, so we'll do 2 more for the video. So we're gonna start here. We're just gonna dig. Again, we have this clay soil. For those of you that have like sandy soil, the soil that's red in the south, how, I mean, what are you guys growing? How does the produce react where you are? If you guys have clay soil, what do you do to amend the soil? Like I said earlier, we've been doing peat moss, a little bit of potting soil over the last couple of years, a little bit of sand to kind of keep the drainage well. And so those have done well for us. Now, for this corn, for example, it'll do fine in clay soil just as long as you break it down really nicely. Um, but yeah, it does really well in clay soil. So if you are in the Midwest, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, do you guys have clay soil? Let me know. Now, even though I'm from Chicago, I couldn't tell you what kind of soil is there because I didn't get into gardening until after I left Chicago in 2003 and I went to Nashville, Tennessee. So I spent 14 years in Nashville, and then I've been here in Indiana for about 7 years. So this is my last year of my 30s, guys. I'm 39 years old. Next birthday, I'll be 40. So yeah, that's crazy to say. It's not old, but we just gotta keep moving, keep doing better. But I am starting to see, like, some things that could be health issues if I don't do certain things now. A lot of my friends are starting to have issues, so this is kind of that breaking point where you either you're gonna take care of yourself or you just gonna let it go. So I'm deciding to take care of myself. All right. Now, for those of you that have been gardening over the last several years, how much money do you guys think you saved by eating your own food? I'd be interested to know. I know we've saved in the 5 digits by growing our own food. So it takes work. I'm not gonna lie, but it's rewarding. The food tastes better. Like for me, if I have to eat a tomato from the grocery store, honestly, I just won't even eat it. If it's not coming out the garden, if it doesn't have that flavor, it's just certain things that I can't eat. Even some of the greens in the grocery store don't compare to the flavor that you'll get by growing your own food. The cabbage, same way. The cucumber actually have flavor growing them in your own yard. The strawberries have the strawberries. The strawberries are gonna give you the best flavor when you grow them in your own yard. Okay. All right, now let's break it down. Chop it up. And then we gonna put this corn plant on in here. All right, I think that's good enough for now. So let's I'm gonna show you guys the fertilizer we're gonna use. All right, I know some of you already know the fertilizer I use. It's been working quite well the last couple of years, and we'll show you. So I'm in Indiana, Illinois has some unusually deep topsoil. Locals call it black dirt. Yeah, 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 this Indiana, man, the soil is not good. The weather is inconsistent. It's just hard to grow certain things here. So again, really, your best bet is to grow summer crops, because you know it gets extremely hot here. But yeah, cool weather crops is kind of funny. This year is the best year we've had for mustard. We changed the variety to, I think it's like a Florida variety. It did well, but previously even mustards didn't do good. Spinach didn't do good. It's just weird. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get this this fertilizer going here. And so I'm looking for my green watering can, but I don't see it. So we'll just use this what I have in my hand. That's all right. All right, here we go. A lot of you guys already know, but we use this fish fertilizer, also known as fish emulsion. And I mean, I can't say enough of this stuff, man. It produces nice produce. The smell is not good. The cats love the smell. So I'm just putting it in, and all you need is just a little bit. So I've got a little bit in here, and then I'm gonna turn this water on. Now I will say, if you're in the country, it's gonna attract raccoon and, you know, all kind of different pests that may come through. So I'm just giving you guys a warning. All right. The only thing I have to worry about now in this area is just cats coming. They love the smell of this stuff. So after this, I'm gonna have to give our cats some I don't know, some sardines or something, because it really does something for them. So I'm gonna fertilize this okra here because it needs a little pump. The okra, I don't know what we are, does well. It just takes so long to get going. So I'm gonna take this and just pour a little in here so that it hits those roots. Again, take it here, pour a little in there, just enough to hit the roots. Yep, so you can see he smells it. I don't know, these animals love this stuff. Here comes the other one. Now we're gonna do the peppers. I'm gonna do the peppers. They've already started to flower. And so now they're really gonna take off. All right, so that's the fertilizer that we use, guys. So let me sit here for a second. See if you guys ask me any more questions. See, I'm out here sweating. I grew in a public strawberry garden where I paid for a site, so I'm gonna store all my tomatoes. Yeah, that's crazy. So they pretty much reaped all that you sowed, huh? That you sowed, I mean. All right, so G Mama, you're in garden 6A. I just planted more sunflower. Oh man, I forgot about those. I've got seeds from last year. I knew it was something I needed to plant. So we're actually gonna plant sunflower right here in this section there. I knew it was something I was forgetting. Thanks for saying sunflowers. Yeah, sunflowers, I mean, you get them in a nice location, like where we're gonna plant them, and get them in some nice, well-drained soil. They'll do well. Get them plenty of sunlight. Actually, I had a variety where, what was it, 2 years ago, it didn't get much sunlight, and they still did well. I guess it just kind of depends. But yeah, sunflowers, we're gonna plant those there. What else? Pumpkin. Yeah, we gotta find the area for those. They take up so much space. Maybe on the side of the house here. Let's see. It would be great to have nice gardening neighbors. Yeah, it would. I don't have any gardening neighbors. I have, well, actually, in this neighborhood, there are a few different groups of people that have gardens. There's one guy here that's got a pretty nice sized garden. I just haven't spoken to him, so maybe over the next couple of weeks, I'll talk to him, see what he's got going on, and you know, maybe we can learn from each other. But it would be great. Now, the last house we were in, that entire neighborhood had gardens. They had chickens and goats, and they had, I mean, like little mini farms. So everybody had about an acre of land where we were the last time. And that's probably the only house that I miss where we lived. And the reason we had to leave was because we had another baby on the way. It wasn't enough room. It was like a smaller ranch, but you had a lot of land though. It was a 3-bedroom, small house, but you know, now we got 4 kids and we needed a little bit more room. So we pretty much gave up yard space for a bigger house. But you know, the older kids are 12 and 10, so you know, maybe in the next 6 to 7 years we'll get back to a house that has more land. All right guys, well, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. We'll try to go live more often. It'll probably be like Sunday mornings. What else did I have to say? Yeah, we'll go. This is the first live. I appreciate you guys for being here. If you haven't hit the like button, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, and we'll see what we can do next week. I appreciate you guys. We're out.